Hi and welcome to Iconic Rides. Every now and then we get invited to something special, and today we are here at something very special. We are here at Doc Wob in the beautiful English countryside to talk dirt bikes. Doc Wob is owned by Rob Walters, who has built many iconic dirt bikes over the years, which have gone on to win many global events. Rob, thank you so much for having us here today. So tell me, who is Rob Walters and where are we now?
We're just at home in my office. This is where we do the podcasts. I'm just a bike mechanic from Worcestershire, nothing.
I think just a bike mechanic is a little underplayed right there. But first I'll go into Doc Wob. Where did that name come from?
It's a bit of a long and drawn out thing. I used to do an article with Dirt Bike Rider magazine, the big magazine in the motocross industry. And they wanted to do a how-to. How do you change tyres? How do you put stickers on? How do you bleed the brakes? And they wanted an angle on that. So they put me in a white coat and a stethoscope. And my name was always wobbly. So they just got shortened to Doc Wob. And then when I started the business, that's what everybody knew me as.
That is brilliant.
So it seemed silly not to use it.
What a great way
But also, added to that, I was in the States a lot working. And I needed a work visa. So they had to put me on the magazine as employee staff. Right. So I could apply for the work visa, spend the time in the States, because I was in the States 15 years on and off.
Nice, okay. So now I'm always going to visualise you with the white coat.
That's the white coat, and that's where a lot of people know me from.
Where did your passion for dirt bikes actually come from, and who was your hero growing up?
I've got no idea where my passion came from. I was just a kid. My parents are both school teachers, not into it in the least. A friend of mine had a little bike, and I got on that, and that was me done.
Really?
Done for life, yeah.
What age was that, would you say?
7 or 8 probably.
Yeah. And
I didn't get my own bike till I was 15. Just wanted something more than life itself, and you end up getting one, and now we've got a few, so it's okay.
Just a few.
Love and then my hero, it's got to be Dave Thorpe. From our generation, you got a guy called Dave Thorpe. He was like 3-time world champion, but at the top of his game for many years.
Nice.
And like when the first Grand Prix, the world championship I went to was him in like 85 at Farley Castle, which is where we have one of our events now. And to see him come from last to first, he crashed in the first turn, and the whole place was just like a sea of people. It was unbelievable. And I stood behind his dad, who was his mechanic. It was Keith right there, the pictures. And I'm like, that's what I want to do. Because I knew I wasn't fast enough to be a rider.
Right.
But I'm like, I did used to race, but I wasn't good enough. Ran out of money, ran out of talent pretty quick.
Right, okay.
But I figured I could be a mechanic. Yeah, so I stood there behind Keith. And I tell Keith to this day, you're the reason I do this shit now. Sorry.
Wow. It's okay. Well, honestly, that's such a lovely story, though. It's great to see someone come from bottom to top and really follow their journey.
I had no. A lot of times people, their family get them into it. I just didn't know anybody, didn't know anything.
Who are the type of customers that come here to Doc Wob for a rebuild for an iconic dirt bike?
We don't do so much of that. We do a few. I mean, they're quite wealthy guys usually because they're not cheap. We don't do cheap. Most of the bikes we build, we own. So we buy them, we build them, we then race them and sell them. That tends to be the most. We did have a business where we bought and sold used dirt bikes, but that market's really hard work now. So we've moved our business interests into the titanium and the fasteners and the stuff we make now.
Yeah.
But as far as the customers, I mean, like I say, they're fairly wealthy individuals usually. They've got good tastes, they know what they like. And because I've been around from the 80s, I know what these bikes are supposed to look like, how they're supposed to work. There's a lot of guys you see doing restoration work, and you're like, oh, yes, lovely workmanship, but it looks wrong because you haven't done this the right colour, or you haven't done that the right thing. Whereas if you want it to look like it's supposed to look, well, that we can do.
Well, you pay for quality, really, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's plenty of people who could do what I do, but there's not many people who can be bothered. Mm-hmm. So it's painstaking, and if you had to count for all the hours we spend, I'm sure we don't make any money.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, I know that you've got a small team behind you, but very highly skilled. Tell me a little bit about them and what their roles are here.
Well, Tony's my workshop manager, and he's my right-hand man, really. I mean, I'm quite often darting around him on the phone, but Tony's just in the workshop, head down, doing his thing. Then we got Harvey, who's the sales manager. Harvey looks after the sales side. Any orders come in, he deals with my wife, who's also the admin, and she's the admin for the events as well. So she oversees all the paperwork side. So between her and Harvey, they sort the orders out, payment links. Then we've got Darren, who works in the warehouse, packing and helping listing parts, taking pictures, listing parts. And we've got Martin, who's our engineer. Martin works 3 days a week, and he was former Ministry of Defence engineer.
Wow.
And he's a whiz. He makes like one-off stuff for us, sample stuff. We do all 3D printing, so when we make something, we have to 3D print it to make sure that when it goes to a CNC machine and we make 100 of them, it fits, it works.
Now, I understand that you use some very exotic materials when building. Can you tell me anything about that?
Mostly titanium. Like that's the bolt business. I started the bolt business because when I was restoring bikes, if I can't find it, without sounding big-headed, you can't get it.
Right.
And all mechanics have got a little stash of titanium bolts, because a set of bolts for a bike were traditionally £4,000 or £5,000 just for the bolts.
Wow.
And so I started looking into it, and with modern manufacturing techniques, that price has come right down. And you can buy the material in big enough bulk, cheap enough. So I went to a Formula One friend of mine who's manufacturing wheel nuts and all that stuff, sat with him, and we talked about material specs and how to make the stuff. So Martin helps us with all that side of things.
Brilliant. Okay, lovely. Do you have a favourite bike that's been through Doc Wob, and why?
I think the white Chesterfields, for some reason, all the bikes we've built. We did a black Chesterfield Yamaha one year, and we did a white one. And the black bike was more iconic, but when we built it, it looked lovely. But the white one really popped. I don't know why, but that white Chesterfield bike, and we had an American rider, Mike Brown, and he really went fast on it.
Nice.
So not only did the bike look good, he made us look good.
Brilliant. That's really good to hear. Another part of your business is promotional events. Tell me a little bit about these and how they came about.
Well, we always used to build bikes for a vets event called VMXDN Farley. From 08, 09, we'd build bikes, we'd show up there, because the American riders would come in, they'd come in because they knew me, and they knew that we'd provide a bike that was okay, otherwise they don't know what they're walking into.
Right.
So once you said, look, Rob will build your bikes, there'll be this, there'll be that, and then you get a name for it. So that was always good. Then in like 2021, Dave King, who's my friend who was one of the promoters for the races, he had a falling out with the other promoter, and they were going to let him go. And he said to me, if I wasn't here, would you do it? I'm like, no, I'm done. If you're done, I'm done. And then we got talking, and I said, we should do an event ourselves. I think we can do better than this. So that's basically the seed started.
Wow.
We then approached certain tracks. We ended up with Fox Hill, which is an iconic British Grand Prix track from the 90s. And because the Evo scene was always up to 89, then they moved it. It was really hard to build these bikes. It was all right 10 years ago, but now there's no parts. So to keep the bikes affordable, and in everybody's memory, we moved the parameters to like 08.
Right.
And that when the two strokes kind of were at their best. And so that's what we moved it to, and it's blown up. It's absolutely, you couldn't have wished for how busy it is. It's now the biggest event in the country, the biggest vets event in the world.
And you must be very, very proud.
We get 300,000 or 400,000 live stream views. We were sponsored by Factory Yamaha Corporate, Factory Fox, all the big brands.
No, that's fantastic.
And we've got the Range now on as a high street. They're high street sponsors for us. So the Range, Wilco, Homebase.
Wow.
They're title
really
sponsors
big brands
of both events. I mean, this is high street stuff.
That's amazing.
That's mainly because Chris, who owns it, is an enthusiast. Let's not kid
Well, you
ourselves.
must be so proud of yourself. Like, what an
It's
amazing
weird how it's
journey.
blown up, yeah.
Such an incredible journey. Before we go, I'd love to take a little look at some of your bikes. What
Yeah.
sort of bikes do you have ready and available for us to have a little look at?
We've got the Yamahas we've built for this year's VMXDN Fox Hill and Farley Castle Vets. So we've got a New Zealand guy called Ben Townley on one. We've got Alessio Chiodi, 3-time world champion Italian guy. We've got Ryan Sipes, Phil Nicoletti. And then for Fox Hill Farley, we've got Sam Sunderland, who's a 2-time Dakar winner, and Guy Martin, who's a TV guy.
Amazing.
So they're going to be racing those. So they're here. We've got a few other bikes dotted around the place. But at the moment, we're 3 weeks away from the event. So we're head down, just making sure these bikes are 110%.
Of course, what do you need to do within the next 3 weeks then to make sure that these bikes are just spick and span and ready?
Well, we've built them, so we need to put them through heat cycles, basically, where you warm them up, cool them down 3 times, just to bed everything in.
Okay.
These are 22-year-old bikes, so 9 times out of 10 you put fuel in them. Even though we've completely rebuilt them, something's going to leak, something's not right, something's going to rattle. So we have to go through each bike individually. Each bike is different, they look the same, but each rider's got different weights, spring preferences, handlebars, grips. We have to personalise them to the rider before they've even seen them.
That's so
So we have to get them somewhere near.
Unreal.
So there's all that kind of last minute prep.
What type of person are you when you are watching your bikes race? Are
Bag
you
of-
a nail biter? Are you a shouter?
Bag of nerves. I'm just
Are you?
The trouble is with putting bikes on track, it's all well and good making a bike look pretty and people taking pictures. You put a bike on track in the hands of these guys best in the world, they're going to break it. It's what they do. They've broken.
You kind of expect for the break to
They
break them.
weren't reliable 25 years ago.
Yeah.
They're certainly not now. You know, it's 25-year-old material, most of it, and these guys are riding them like a modern bike. And the riding style's changed now to be much more aggressive because the bikes can take it. But they're taking that aggressive riding style and riding these old 2002 bikes, and stuff's going wrong. We've got a pretty good record of bikes not breaking, but there is 5 on track, so you're just making sure they're all going all right, making sure everything sounds good.
Yeah.
And just trying to watch for lines. If there's somebody else who's got a good line, I'll tell them. Because I don't go to the start, so I can watch the whole race.
Okay.
But the mechanics take the bikes down with the pit boards and all that stuff, and I just stand there like on my own.
Oh, bless you, shaking.
I just want it. I want it to be over. I just want it to be over.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like such an amazing day. Hopefully we can join you
It is,
one
yeah.
day.
Come down and have a look. It's a really good day out.
Love
It's
to.
a little bit hectic.
Okay, so before we go and take a look at some of the bikes you have here, can you tell me your top 3 bike garage if you could have any 3 iconic bikes from the past?
Can I have just 3? Yamaha YZM 500. There's a bike Yamaha made in 87 and 88 when I was doing the World Championships and I was working with KTM. And Yamaha never made a production 500. They never made a water-cooled, and it was just aluminium frame. 18 years before they came out in production with aluminium frame. They only made it for 2 years. It is the coolest thing you'll ever see. And it still looks cool now. So, it's ungodly, that thing. Dave Thorpe's factory Honda, I was lucky enough to get the job of rebuilding that, and to be able to see inside, all the engineering was off the scale.
I can imagine.
And then a Rinaldi 250 Yamaha, the Chesterfield bikes, they were iconic.
Yeah.
And that's what we try to replicate. Or any Pro Circuit built bike, because the Pro Circuit guys do such a brilliant job and they support us, and I help Mitch out, who owns Pro Circuit. It's a big company, makes exhaust pipes, aftermarket stuff. Their race bikes are off the scale.
Phenomenal. Well, thank you very much for that. So, shall we go and take a look at some bikes?
I can show you what we got here, yeah, no problem.
Let's go. So, Rob, tell us a little bit about where we are right now.
So this is what we call the Orange Workshop. This is our restoration shop. This is where stuff's in bits for quite a long time, for months.
Right.
Because we can't start something and then need the bench space, put it all away, get it all out again. So it just has to be, like, this is, for 4 months, all we've done is build these. So they're all Yamahas in here right now, and it's just trying to keep each one built to each rider's specific specs, but also keeping them all the same so they look the same.
Of course. So they have to look the same. Tell me a little bit about the colour scheme with all of them looking the same.
Well, the colour scheme for this year is the Yamaha 70th anniversary. We had an embargo till the first week of July because they were going to announce the colour scheme for the MotoGP road race teams, the Grand Prix teams and the American teams all the same weekend.
Right.
So we couldn't do anything until the day after. And then they had the colourway. We had to approve it all once they saw the design. But it has to go corporate Yamaha. They all have to sign it off. It's quite unusual for us to have to go through those.
Are they really picky?
They can be, but they want it right, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, and what's really cool is Yamaha are going to take the pictures we've got and they put it on Yamaha.com,
Nice.
which is the first time a restoration firm has featured on a manufacturer's website, because they only feature their own
wow.
bikes. They don't feature any third party.
That's
the
really
first.
good.
So that's
Brilliant.
really good for us.
So you said each bike obviously looks the same. Tell me about the little different features that each bike actually has inside of it.
Well, what we do, we speak to the rider and we get their weight with all their helmet and the boots and the gear on.
Yeah.
So then the rear springs have to be measured. We've got a measuring tool there, and we have to measure the springs to make sure they're the right weight for the riders. American guys just want the stiffest fork springs you can put in there because the way their style is. European guys, you have to do the fork springs to their weight.
Right.
And then they want their own handlebar bend, their own grip preference. Some guys will want different ribs on the seat. Some want 2 ribs, 3 ribs. They are quite specific. Things like the lever heights and all that stuff we can adjust when they get here. And of course tyres will decide on the day.
Right, okay.
And also gearing, because we've got so many options for different gearing. If
Yeah.
it's wet and boggy, we'll have to have different gearing than if it's dry and hard.
Right, so how much practice do they actually get on this specific bike before a race?
Most guys will only see it on, like, they'll show up on the Wednesday, we'll go out and ride it for an hour or two. So we have to get it really close.
Wow.
And then there's another thing with these older two-strokes is the carburetor settings called jetting, which is they can be really sensitive. And we have to use really expensive fuel. And that's also quite sensitive to the jetting. But when you get it right, it works good. But we've got settings from last year, the year before. So we've got a good base setting.
Yeah.
And that's affected by altitude, air density, the heat index. So we have to make constant changes. But the good thing is they're all the same.
Yeah.
So, but the motors on these were built by, we assemble them, but the actual tuning work's done by a guy called Mitch Payton at Pro Circuit in America.
Okay.
And we send the cylinders to him. He modifies those for the right fuel. So we've got 106 octane leaded fuel, which is, you couldn't use it on the road. It's illegal for that. But for closed circuit race, it's okay.
Yeah.
And then they make the exhaust pipes. So 3 of these exhaust pipes we can never sell.
Wow.
They're special. And he said, you can't sell them. If you smash them, it's great. They just can't end up in the public domain.
Right, okay.
So he doesn't want them back, but we can't sell them.
Yeah, they're yours forever now, basically.
Well, we'll just have to put them in the skip when we're done with them. So
Yeah.
he's worried that they're going to get out and people are going to see what he's doing. So
Of
that's the big
course.
thing. Everything's quite secretive with the racing.
I can imagine. It's competitive, isn't it? Is there a certain build that you like specifically like yourself?
These are all the same to me.
It's all the same.
I like Suzuki's. I was a
Yeah.
factory Suzuki mechanic. I mean, I was a Honda and Kawasaki guy, but Suzuki's, they just like the way they're assembled. I like the way they're put together. So, you know, I'm yellow. I like an RM.
Nice.
I just do. And it's just, I've got a passion for the company because I work there and they're really nice and they're really cool. And I really appreciate the way that they go about stuff. They're just a different company to the other Japanese guys I work with.
Yeah, lovely. And you said that you have another garage as well here. So tell me a little bit about the process of what you do in that garage before it actually ends up in here.
The other workshop, there's the engineering shop, there's the fab shop, which is the welding and cutting and all the dirty grinding and stuff. So that's, I can take you over there in a minute, that's the blue workshop, we call that. And that was done, that's R&D, so if we're manufacturing parts and we're making a frame guard, we get a bike in, we're measuring it, it goes into the weld shop, goes into the Martin who's got his machine work in there. So there's 3 of us, rather than sending it away to an engineer in place and waiting for it to come back, we'll just stand there for 10 minutes, he'll change it.
Brilliant.
And we'll try it, and then stuff turns around in hours rather than weeks.
Nice.
So that's where we take stuff apart and then everything goes off to be coated or plated. It all comes apart, goes to different places around. Then we fab the frames, then they get powder coated. So just that's where all that prep work gets done. Then they come in here for assembly.
Fantastic. Well, I'll be interested to have a little look in the other workshop if you don't mind.
Over there. I'm not sure what's in there. We'll
Thank you so much. So tell me where we are now in this workshop.
And this is now the blue workshop. This is where stuff comes to be stripped. Everything goes to where it's got to go to, the fab shop, the machine shop, and away to be powder coated, anodized, whatever we do. I've been building that little Suzuki in here because the Orange Workshop's full of Yamahas. So
is this just something like as a hobby based, or is it?
That was a really special bike. That's a really, really special 2000 Travis Pastrana R125. He won the championship when he was 16 riding that.
Wow.
So that's like a bit of a passion project of mine.
Oh, that's lovely. What great history. And then we've got a gent in here doing some loud work as well.
Martin the machinist is in here doing some machining, as he does.
Hi! So tell me a little bit about what is going on here.
We do like one-offs, R&D stuff. We don't do massive production run stuff in here. A lot of it's repair work on older stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of it is manufacturing newer parts to fit older bikes. So there's a lot of that involved. We never seem to have a front wheel fits without some kind of machining. But Mark's really good. Mark understands, not many engineers understand motorbikes, so we have to have somebody who understands how a motorbike goes together.
Yeah.
This will give it a nice shine.
So that's just really smoothing it over and giving it a bit of gloss. Rob, tell us about this final little workshop that we have here.
This is what we call the titanium room.
Yeah.
Again, it's blue, but it's the tie room. This is where all the nuts and bolts that we make. Mark, the engineer, sits there and does all the drawings. So we manufacture oversized brake kits, overflow tanks. Everything gets made in plastic 3D print before we go ahead and make the actual part.
Right, okay. So what do we do with the plastic bit before making the actual
We bolt it
parts?
onto a bike to make sure it fits.
Brilliant.
You wouldn't want to use it. And then once we know it fits, we can go ahead and get these made, because you have to get these made by the 100 and it gets a bit spendy if it's wrong.
I can imagine.
So
what are these little parts that we're looking at the moment?
These are mainly brake carriers that we're working on at the moment. We make oversized brakes so the brake works better.
Yeah.
But when you think an oversized brake, the brake needs to be further away from the middle because the disc's bigger.
Right.
So we make the big discs and we make these that will work with them.
Okay, and then we've got your little nut and bolt kind of
Yeah, now that's a bolt kit that Harvey's picking right now. We manufacture titanium bolts. We started doing it just for the older bikes that we build.
Yeah.
Then we got into the newer stuff, and we now supply factory Honda, factory Yamaha, factory Suzuki, factory KTM, factory Husqvarna gas.
Amazing, huge brands.
They
Wow.
all buy it off us. We're technical partners, so we're not a sponsor.
Amazing.
So we don't get a sticker on the bike, but we get a sticker on the van, and we get the right to use them in any advertising we want.
Brilliant.
But that comes with its own. They're quite hard work, as you'd imagine. They, you know, if they're buying it from you, you've got to be able to source the material back to foundry.
Right.
If we have a failure, it goes for X-ray and it goes into the lab to find out why it's failed.
Okay, and it's kind of pressure on you in that point.
If I'm watching the TV and a bike breaks, I'm like, what's broken on that?
No.
So we have a few issues, not issues, but
yeah.
If you know, we work with the teams, they're really good. And what is good for us then, whatever we end up with the team, we can supply the customers. It's not specially for them.
Okay.
So what we make, we sell to the customers.
Yeah.
So it's the same stuff as factory Honda and all these other guys are using. Every one of these cupboards, there's probably £200,000 in each one of these cupboards.
£200,000 of nuts and bolts
In each one.
That is crazy.
So now we're at the stage where we're pretty much stocked up. We get really busy time in like September, October for the race teams.
Yeah.
They order all their stuff in one hit. They don't want it dribs and drabs.
Wow.
They want their year's worth of stuff in one hit. Then throughout the year, if they change a brake or they change a radiator and they need different bolts, they come on and we send them just them bits.
Wow, that is insane.
But it is quite insane when you go to the World Championships.
And are those competitive prices in regards to any of the other competitors selling
like,
them?
Until we came along, a bulk kit was like £4,000.
That's £4,000 usually.
No, that's £1,000 we do.
Okay, so you're very, very big. Well, you're very competitive prices.
And we obviously do cost price to the teams.
Yeah.
But they do buy it. We don't sponsor anybody.
Brilliant.
We can't afford to. It's too expensive.
Amazing. What makes these different to any others then?
Titanium is basically half the weight of a steel bolt, stronger.
Yes, it is very light.
It's light. I don't know where that come from.
Oh no.
In there probably. And it doesn't rust, doesn't corrode.
Right.
A lot of the teams are using it. Like they'll get new bikes every 3 races.
Yeah.
These bolts are doing 2 years. So they're taking them out of the bikes and reusing them over and over again, and nothing else gets used.
Just the bolts.
Just our stuff.
Wow,
You just like, can you change it out?
fascinating.
So, like I say, basically, if you assemble a complete, whatever the weight of that when it goes out the door,
Yeah.
the standard bolts will weigh twice as much.
Wow. Okay.
And
That makes
weight
sense.
equals horsepower.
Of course, absolutely.
And there's less flex with titanium bolts, which is good in some aspects, and some aspects it's not. So some guys prefer steel bolts in certain parts of the bike.
Right.
They're all different. Trust me, all these guys.
Yeah.
Are
Everyone
different.
just has their own preferences by the sound of it in this world.
They're all on the spectrum anyway.
Aren't we all? So, what's going on here?
It's a photo shoot. There's an internet site called Moto Hunters. They're trying to recreate the 90s days where it was all girls and bikes.
Yeah.
And so they're recreating that. They're doing a calendar, I believe.
Oh, nice.
And then with the box van, the team box van, I rebuilt that.
That is a funky box van.
Yeah, it was. I used to drive one of those in the States with the factory teams. All used to have we had 5 or 6 all the same.
Yeah.
So I redid it, and so the van's a star in its own right. It's quite weird. But we use it for events, and we use it to go testing and racing.
Brilliant.
But these guys are just taking some pictures, a bit of promo for the events.
Yeah.
But I think it's mainly for them to use on their Instagram pages.
Nice. Okay, so there used to be obviously the Brolly girls back in the day and people like that. Whatever happened to them? What
It's
do you
all
think?
gone a bit politically correct,
didn't it?
So I think these guys are trying to take it back to when it was like a little bit rock star, a little bit punk.
Of course.
I think that's what they're trying to get
absolutely.
to. So Richie asked me, I said, I've got a few bikes, come take some pictures, I don't care.
Nice.
The only thing we can't do is we can't do Yamahas, because it's a bit more corporate. We can't. We've got to be mindful of what we do there.
Absolutely. We have had a truly amazing day here at Doc Wob in the beautiful English countryside. You never quite know what we're going to show you next here on Iconic Ride, so stay tuned by hitting subscribe. Make sure you drop us a like and a comment below to tell us what you'd like to see on any future episodes. Goodbye for now.